Hi, this is Matt Donegan from Challenger Stories. I'm here with Anu, who's the founder of Isoline, a tech B2B content agency. Anu, tell me more about Isoline.
Hi, I'm Matt. Thanks for having me. Isoline is a specialist. We specialize in two niches within the marketing space. We are a pure play content agency. That means we're not a PR firm who's just writing some content on the site. And we super specialize in tech B2B clients. So we don't work for any consumer facing brands at all. And all of our brands are very deep in the tech value chain. So if that's your gig, then we are probably the agency to talk to.
Excellent. Niche is so important, right? It's important for your clients, but it's also important for you. So you do two things really well and you focus on just those. So that is content, pure play content agency, and tech. And it's actually very specific areas in tech as well, isn't it?
That's right.
It's not the whole of the tech industry, if there were such a thing. So your technology clients tend to be what kind of size and what kind of sector?
Between 500 million up to a couple of billion. And the sectors would be spaces like telecom B2B. So the companies that provide maybe roaming services or the business and operation support software or telecoms fraud protection, that kind of quite deep into the value chain. Their customers would be the operators that we often hear of, like say it would be a vendor 202, for example, right? So clients that if you were to ask a reasonably intelligent 16-year-old, they wouldn't know these brands. Okay. But interestingly, these are brands that we all use every day.
Yes, yeah. Now, these brands are the backbone of the infrastructure of the B2C brands that we all kind of know and love. Is that
Absolutely.
Word advisedly. Okay, so get the space that you're in. What I find really, really interesting about the space that you are in right now is that when I speak to digital marketers and marketers in general, the terminology SEO used to mean search engine optimization. Now, I think we can call it search everywhere optimization, because of now people aren't searching so much on Google, they're searching on GPTs. They're using AI. Now, I know you're a business that firmly understands AI and what's happening and developing around AI, but actually isn't content, you mentioned about putting a PR piece out there, isn't content now even more important than it was before? Now that search engine optimization and PPC is actually the thing that's under threat.
That is, the market share that search via Google controls is far less than it used to be even 12 months ago. And it's shrinking by the month, right? As you said, generative search is it's on the upswing. And people haven't yet learned. And this is a good thing, actually, because the way generative search works is it tries to give you helpful information, right? Tries to suss out what your search intent is, and it tries to give you the information that is helpful to you in your search, which is what Google tries to do through all of its algorithm updates. Ultimately, its mission is to help people find what they need online, right? Yeah. And therefore, there isn't yet, I think, the techniques to game this system. You know, all of this keyword stuffing and the white pixels and all that nonsense, which is just poor quality search strategies. There isn't yet that to game the system for generative search. So you need really high quality, intent focused content if you need to show up on generative search. So it's a good thing at a very strategic level. And I'm reasonably certain that generative search will only get more sophisticated. So less likely to throw up irrelevant results as, the engine becomes more tuned to the user. So I think it's good news for marketers and for those seeking information alike at a strategic level.
I think you're absolutely right, but not that my opinion matters that much, because you're in the industry, you really understand it. What I'm witnessing, and I was at an event the other day, there were 40 to 50 business leaders at the event, and I was privileged to be in the room with these guys, and they were asked, show of hands, how many were using Google and how many were using AI. And they did distinguish between Google and AI, because obviously Google has its own AI built in, but these were using GPTs, these were using generative chat models, and 75% of the room wasn't using Google. So I think there's been an enormous shift. Now, when we have spoken before, one thing that you and I are completely aligned on is about marketing can be, should be, and is highly effective when you do it well. But most marketing agencies, what they do is they sell time and materials, and they're not geared towards generating results for their client. It's a bugbear of mine. I know when we first spoke about it, I could see the wry smile on your face and you're beaming from ear to ear because I know you're exactly the same mindset as me. How does Isoline do that? How do you get results for your clients using content?
We've got our own methodology, right? But really to break down how we approach content, right? Content is not an afterthought. That's the most important thing to remember. And very often in my space, in the tech B2B world, it turns out to be an afterthought. It is content takes orders, the content function or the marketing function takes orders from the rest, from whether it's called portfolio or project management or field marketing or sales, whatever. So marketing takes an order. Write a blog about, I don't know, AI in analytics. Off you go. Look, by the way, ChatGPT wrote me this blog in 5 minutes, may I add?
Yes.
Okay, so marketing runs away. And so content is an afterthought. If content is an afterthought, it will be poor. And here's what we like to do, right? And we advise clients to do this all the time, which is if content were a product of your company, if content formed a part of the fundamental infrastructure of your company, right? The route to take your product to market, how would you treat it? Would you spend 3 seconds briefing your marketing team? Wouldn't you give it some thought? Wouldn't you analyze what the buyer is thinking, where they're coming from, what their pain points are, and how can the content I put out address these pain points? That's what we keep telling our clients. This is what we believe in. Content is part of the infrastructure of an organization that wants to go to market with a complex sell. When you approach content in this way, right, you think buyer journey, and you start thinking about, okay, what do I do at the top of this journey? What should I say? What information are they seeking? This is where generative search and how it helps you find information, how it helps you broaden your field of knowledge is very useful. Then you have that messy middle, right? Where you have so many parties influencing, analyzing, deciding, refining, and it just goes on. And then finally, people drop to the bottom of the funnel. So for this messy middle, you need to start thinking about all the different stakeholders who need to, it's like that elephant where everybody touches, it's a fan, it's a rope, it's a pillar, right? How does your solution play out in this diverse ecosystem of influencers? And then when bottom of the funnel comes, we all know, right? What works, all the comparison. So if you think in this manner and think about how to take leads or prospects from that top of the funnel into this messy middle by giving them value-added information that they can't find elsewhere.
Yeah.
I know this is like a big lecture, but that's basically how you have to think about it. Be strategic. Yeah. Don't think about content as ad hoc bits and pieces. Think about it as part of the infrastructure of your company.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what we do. Like that's our day job. So we'll tell you how to do that.
So fundamentally, if I take a step back from describing what you're doing, in that funnel, you are doing one of the basic foundations of any marketing, which is developing know, like, and trust, aren't you?
Yes.
We can call it any other thing that we want to, but fundamentally, what you're doing is you're building up a relationship, you're building up trust. You're engaging with your target audience to create communication that's going to get them to know you, to trust you, to be able to be in a position where they understand that your clients are the ones to come to. So it's pretty fundamental.
I mean, the proof of the pudding is, are our clients gaining revenues, right? Yeah. It doesn't really matter to me. It doesn't really fundamentally matter whether I can attribute that revenue to myself or whether I can. Okay, I will have the metrics in place, to track, and technologies are amazing now, right? Whether you're doing lead gen through lead capture forms or you're doing like demand scoring, all the rest of the tech, whatever technology you have, it doesn't matter. It's great if I can attribute that lead to how the content drove people through the funnel. It's much more and more possible to do today. But even if you can't attribute it, even if it's a campaign we did addressing that sector and suddenly revenues for that sector have gone up, or not suddenly, gradually, steadily, they've gone up. Yeah. That's a win for the entire team, including marketing. So point one is don't be precious about it. Be generous. Allow the marketing team to shine. Allow the sales team to shine. But make sure whatever you produce helps them do their job better.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more. So if I ask you for a succinct 3 top tips of producing content, what would that be?
Well, you know the first one already, right? Treat content like infrastructure. Content is not an afterthought.
Yeah, got it.
Number 2, reward your audiences for every second of time they spend with you.
Great tip.
That means don't give anodyne stuff that they are likely to already know, you know, all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Add value, add the unique value only you can provide.
Yeah.
Okay. And the third one is measure your head off.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Measure your head off. Brilliant. Fantastic. I mean, the foundation of great marketing is test and measure. And look,
Measurement is scary, Matt.
yeah. It is. Yeah, and you provide the analytics, right? With a lot of your clients, you provide that.
Well, the thing with being an agency is you have to be really flexible to the setup clients have. Sometimes clients give us access to all the way to the end of, you know, into their Salesforce or HubSpot or whatever is their CRM platform. Sometimes we need to ask clients to share this information with us.
Yeah.
We set up studio like Looker Studio, or we set up dashboards using any kind of platform needed. So we can usually track marketing metrics quite easily because we can gain access to that with clients.
Yeah.
When it comes to revenue metrics, lead gen, you know, pipeline metrics, that's usually something client has to send to you, because very rarely does an agency get access to that very sensitive information, right? Insight into it.
And of course, there's all different parts of the pipeline. And when it looks like they're in the sales close part of the pipeline and you're dealing with enterprise clients, not only can there be, it can be somewhat opaque, but it's out of your control, any control mechanisms that you can put in there. Plus, there are other factors that you'll never get to see. And an enterprise sales pipeline can be anywhere from 1 to 3 years. So what you do now can affect the business in 1 to 3 years. You won't necessarily measure it right now, but you can measure the entry into that funnel. Get it?
And you must do that.
Yeah, absolutely. So look, we've talked a little bit about the industry. Let's talk about Isoline. How long have Isoline been going now?
We're going to be 10 in about 2 months.
Wow. Congratulations. I'll say
Thank you.
Happy birthday now.
Thank you. We'll send you an invitation to our party.
Oh, lovely. I'd love to come. Brilliant. Thank you. So 10 years, what made you do it in the first place?
I guess an entrepreneurial itch. I'm not sure. I just wanted to see, I think, how it would feel. And I sort of decided I wouldn't think any big thoughts, right? So I steered away from saying this is make or break. I have to prove. I just said I'm going to try it for 5 years. At the end of 5 years, I didn't set myself a revenue goal or anything. I said at the end of 5 years, if I'm profitable and I'm having fun, I will continue for another 5 years. And at the end of 5 years, I'm going to ask myself the same question and keep going in this manner.
Right.
That's basically, yeah. And then I was lucky enough to have clients, you know, in the beginning, it's your friends and family, right? Ex-clients, ex-colleagues who trust you. And I was very lucky and grateful to have clients who came to me, ex-colleagues who came to me and trusted me with their work. And here we are today.
So 10 years in, so double the 5, obviously, goes without saying, bit of dumb maths there. Do you have any regrets?
I think I should, okay, so starting the company was not a hard decision for me, okay? Because it's just my money I'm playing with, right? But it took me a really long time to understand, to have enough confidence in my model that I could hire people, like I could employ people and build up a team. And I spent nearly 3 years before I had built up the confidence to do that. I think I would have done that earlier. I maybe would have leveraged myself a bit, because we've, you know, and hired more, started as an agency from the beginning. But yeah, maybe I would have done that. And we may have been in a different trajectory.
Yeah, okay. And that's a fair point, because it takes confidence to build a business. And you get that confidence with an understanding about what it is to run a business, because it's challenging running a business, right? I mean, it's the reason why this podcast is called Challenger Stories. It's, you know, I often use the same description. You're the last person to get a raise, the last person to get paid. You're the last person to get thanked, and the first person that anybody comes to if they've got a problem. So,
oh my God, the COVID years. Oh God.
No. I bet.
Don't take me to be was resilient during COVID. Don't get me wrong. Just managing the team through that, keeping them. Oh, that was jolly hard. Yeah. I'm sure we've had plenty of people here talking about the COVID years, so I won't go there.
Yeah. Well, look, we've had a series of shocks. We've had COVID. We've had, you know, what's been happening in Ukraine, cost of living crisis. I mean, I'm old enough to remember the great financial crash, and of course we also had, in the middle of all that, we've had the ramifications of Brexit. Although we won't go into the politics around that, there definitely have been ramifications in the business environment. So let's talk about the challenges that you've had along the way. You said that you wouldn't have, or you wish you might have hired somebody earlier, built a team, leveraged yourself moving forward. Was there a moment when you were developing the business when you just went, you know what, I'm done, I'm out of here?
Like, you mean this week?
Is it worse? Is it one of those things where it's like this? It happens so often.
I think it's my reaction to it, right? It's like this fantasy of, okay, fine, I'm off. Close the company, off I go. It's just my fantasy.
So, and just a question around that, right? Because your answer tells me that, A, yes, you've been through that. And look, anybody who's run a business has, right? So it's a bit of a leading question. How do you deal with it? How do you deal with those, this is hard, I'm not sure if I want to do this anymore. Let me off of this thing. I want to get out. How do you deal with that?
I think by being open to the possibility, right? I'm not going to say have a peer group. Yes, definitely have that. Have people you can speak to, have a mentor, all of that mental health and resilience stuff. But also explore it. If you think that it's that easy to sell your company and walk away with the money, explore it and see. It's not that easy, mate. The value you've built, that you've put into the company. And when you see what a thriving, viable business you have, and what good people you have who are motivated and smart and cleverer than you, it's great. Yeah. And I think at the moment, with this inflection point that AI has brought to the marketing industry, there are a number of business owners who have had it, right? Some survey I was reading recently said that there was quite a significant proportion. I was at 30 to 40% of agency owners in the UK are like, I'm done. I want to sell. I want to go. And I think that's just a symptom of being tired, right? But as a business owner, you don't have the luxury of being tired. You just have to take it on the chin, smile, keep and just move on. You have to think of the next plan. You have to think of the next plot. And just take your team with you and take your clients with you.
It's about evolution. Sometimes it can be about revolution.
Yeah.
But whatever it is, it's about survival, and it's about, more importantly, it's about growth. Because if you're not growing, then you're dying in a business.
And what's your fundamental principle, right? So for me, it is adding value, right? I don't want to work with clients if I'm not adding value to them, because I'm just stealing money from you. And the value we add can be dumb. It can just be, I save you time. I don't mind. So long as we have that value for you, then we keep going. Then we serve a purpose, right, in this world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, that became deep.
I love how open you are, Anu, I have to say. It's a real pleasure.
That's usually code for you're talking too much.
I know for a fact I'm getting an honest opinion, so that's really good. That's really powerful. In terms of, we'll talk about two different forms of challenge, right? So let's talk about the challenge in the industry first, and then we're going to come on to the challenge in the business specifically. So if we talk about the challenge in the industry at the moment, there are a few they're racking up, right? So you've got Meta saying that they're going to start to effectively create ads to go on the platform and cut out agencies. You've got, now I realise obviously that's not the direct space that you're in, but bear with me. Then you've got the TV companies, the platforms, and what they're starting to do is join together so they can sell quick serve inventory really, really fast, quick turnaround, paid for by a credit card, done, approved via Clearcast, put out across all their channels to be served direct into people's homes. So they're trying to kind of keep up with Meta. So what both of those things do is they take out immediately a vast amount of the landscape the marketing agencies have done for the last 20 years. That's a massive challenge. And you've got AI creating content left, right, and center. How are you guys responding to that challenge? How do you believe good agencies will win?
Embrace AI. There's so many. It's such a complex and interesting question, right? You could do a podcast just on that one question. I think that look, Matt, I don't do Facebook ads, right? My clients don't sell via Facebook or Meta or Indeed via on TV. But what I do know, I know other business owners who are in the B2C space and so on. And the content that is created from scratch by AI sources, while plausible, at this point is not as effective as creative content that speaks through insight. And it's the same thing on LinkedIn. It's the same thing on B2B as well. Content that is generated completely through AI is plausible, but not insightful. This may change. Nobody knows. But as agency, we have a responsibility to our clients to use the efficiencies that AI can give us.
Yeah.
For example, let's talk meta ads. Yeah. If we create an ad with this layout and Meta can recreate in this layout, this like quickly and easily in a matter of minutes, what would take the agency a matter of hours, use it. You owe it to your client.
Yeah.
Why would you resist that? In the same way for us, if AI can make our research job easier, if AI can help us to design things easier, create video more cheaply, we have a responsibility to the industry and to the client to use it. And marketing's always done this. When back in the day, when the Mac was first introduced, you moved from physical artworks to digital artworks.
Yeah.
Then when the internet became prevalent, you moved from offline to digital advertising and marketing. Mm-hmm. Today, it's the age of AI. It's just a different inflection. If you look at it like that, it's not scary. And we need to invest time to embrace it, to make our work better. It's not a substitute for creativity and insight.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's
right?
also not a complete different business model either. When we spoke about this previously, the fact that, 20 odd years ago, suddenly with the dot-com boom, in fact, more than 20 years ago, the dot-com boom came along. Every single business put a dot and a com after their name, and suddenly they were digital and they were new media, even when they weren't media companies. And everybody jumped on that bandwagon, and then it went up in smoke. And there's clearly a huge risk of that happening now, because we all embrace websites, we all embrace digital applications, and it became the norm. AI is going to become the norm. So absolutely what you're saying about embracing it, utilise it as a tool in order to move the dial and be more effective, and then work out how human beings interact with it. That looks like the winner to me. And I think you guys are in a really good position to do that.
We're trying.
Yeah, well, at least you've got an open mind about it. I spoke to an agency CEO recently who's been studying AI a lot. But the interesting thing with that conversation is he said, people, just because I've studied it and I know a lot about it, they think I'm an advocate for it, and I'm not. I'm just open about it. I'm learning about it. I've decided to learn a lot about it because I know it will be incredibly important. But it doesn't mean that I believe in it. So that was a fascinating insight, someone who knows it inside out. How are you, just one last question around what you're doing in terms of the challenges for the agency. How are you embracing that change? So you're saying you're working with it. What's keeping you awake at night when it comes to the march of AI?
I think that compliance, for example, with image generation is very tempting. And there's a whole range, that's Pandora's box. Using the tool is fine. Using all of the tools. There's literally a website called there'sanaIforthat.com. But so using all of these tools is one thing, but using them with transparency, with best practice, I think that what they call a wicked problem. There's no correct answer today. We just need to make small fumbling steps towards what we see as a goal.
Yeah.
And then we'll all get there.
Yeah.
Until then, it will be flux.
Yeah. And look, Mogadat says something fascinating and it's a great insight. He said, AI is not going to come and take your job. The person who's using AI is going to come and take your job. And I think we need to understand and embrace that. And conceptually, he's probably right. Yeah, because we need to be mindful. It's not the panacea for all our ills. And it's certainly not necessarily the evil that some people say it is. So listen, thanks for that insight. I've just got one last question. You've already said to me about if you would have done one thing differently, it would have been maybe starting leveraging.
Expanding faster, basically.
Yeah, expanding faster, exactly that.
I don't actually. I don't know. To me, I think what are things, I don't know. What does success look like, I suppose? Define that for yourself and work towards that, I think. I don't have a big, hairy, audacious goal at the moment.
Yeah.
I just want to be I just want to continue being what we are, right? We are geeky, we are super expert, we are super specialized. And if you know the field, you've heard of us.
Yeah.
Just like many of our clients, right? If you know, and I think we offer something unique and we just need to not lose that. Yeah. Not kind of say this way of life or, this way of working is what we're wedded to. No, the value that we bring is what we are wedded to. Yeah. So in whatever Yeah, I think I'm not sure. I'm just rambling. Sorry.
I don't necessarily agree with you just rambling. What I would say is that what you've just described in my question was that you know what question it is that's going to take you off into that different direction. And what you've just answered points at what the why is, what keeps you motivated. And actually that's the right answer. If you haven't got the exact answer right now of look, we're coming to this split in the road, because we are, technology is driving a wedge. If you don't know what the answer or what the question is that you need the answer to, actually you saying remain honest to your principles and to what your why is in many respects a better answer than what your big, hairy, audacious goal is or the big decision that you're going to make, because you're using your moral compass in order to drive the business forward. And that is admirable. So,
Thank you.
Annie, thank you so much for your time today. I've really enjoyed quite a honest, open discussion about not only how to generate business results through using content, but what's happening in the landscape and how to be really, truly effective in what you're doing in marketing. You guys, Isoline are leaders in your field. I have huge admiration for what you've done over the last 10 years minus 2 weeks. And I'm really looking forward to see what the next 10 years looks like for Isoline, because I know you're going to be continue to be a huge success. So, and
That means a lot. Thank you, Matt. Thank you very
very
much.
much. Goodbye.